What if I told you that even ordinary people can be on top of the world?
The first attempt on the North Pole by a team of women gets underway today.
The epic adventure will take them over 1,000 kilometres of hazardous sea ice.
It's thousands of miles of ice and nobody.
And so I found myself walking into this water and then sinking up to my neck.
I honestly thought I was going to die in the Arctic.
The all-new 30 for 30 podcast. Subscribe now on the ESPN app or Apple Podcasts.
30 for 30 podcast is presented by Mini. We're finding the best sports stories for you right now. And to do that, we're behind the wheel of the new Mini Countryman, the biggest Mini yet.
Please proceed to the highlighted route.
To find great sports stories, you have to get out into the world and follow your instincts. That's where the new Mini Countryman's all-wheel drive comes in handy. With all four, we can chase down a story in the city, the country, and most places in between. No matter what story you're chasing, the new Mini Countryman will help you find it. It's available now, and so are 30 for 30 podcasts.
My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. You can send us a tweet at the 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed. That is at Bomani_Jones. So I asked you guys yesterday how excited you actually were about the beginning of the NFL season. We detected that people weren't quite as excited about it as we thought they might have been. The overnight ratings for the game, I think they're down 10% from last year, seemed to give some level of indication that you guys were not that excited about football, but we got some football. Now, the other level of that was I was like, hey, man, you want me to get all excited about the start of the NFL season, and then you give me Alex Smith. You hustle backwards, my dude. And then, of course, that came to the perfectly reasonable observation that Alex Smith is a bit of a limited quarterback who doesn't really throw the ball down the field too much and is the mascot for the most mediocre of our American brethren. So Alex Smith threw for 368 yards, right? 368 yards. Can't knock a man for completing passes just because somebody's open. You can never get yourself into that sort of place. But Alex Smith put up 368 yards, much to the pleasure, by the way, of Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth. Like, honestly, I thought that Chris Collinsworth was calling the Little League World Series, and it was going to turn out that Alex Smith's mama's maiden name was Collinsworth. Like, I thought that there was some variety of kin. For some reason, the broadcasting profession has an affection for Alex Smith and a protection of him that is a little bit strange. And a whole lot of America also seems to go along with it on the exact same way, because I spent my whole night with people being like, yeah, what you got to say about Alex Smith now? Shannon, help me out here. How many 300-yard games does Alex Smith have in his career?
This was his third one.
That's the third for a touchdown game.
Third for the 4 touchdowns. But I think 300-yard game, I think he's seventh, I want to say.
Yeah. This is his 13th year. Year 13. There's where we are with Alex Smith. So you give him credit for the game he had. You ain't about to be coming up in my face acting like you don't know damn well exactly who the dude is that I'm talking about when it comes to Alex Smith. Apparently, by the way, Andy Reid also knows who the dude is when we talk about Alex Smith, because we had Joe Banner. We had Joe Banner on a few months ago when he worked here, and I asked him a question about what the set of circumstances were around bringing in Michael Vick. And he said, well, a big part of why they brought in Michael Vick was that Andy Reid had this vision of what he had been trying to do for a while, which is basically to institute a college offense in the NFL. And he thought that Michael Vick would be the guy who would allow him to do that. I never really felt like the Andy Reid offense when Vick was there was really that much like a college offense. I never got that vibe. Yeah, this offense they ran last night, when I looked up and I saw a play that I know damn well that Urban Meyer, I don't know if they still run it at Ohio State, but I remember running that a lot at Florida, which is in effect a triple option where the snap comes to the quarterback, the tailback goes on the outside, and it leaves a shovel pass up the middle for the tight end. That is in effect the dive of the triple option. They ran that play about 4 or 5 times last night. We saw speed options from the Chiefs last night. Like, the Chiefs are really out here running a college offense in the sense that they're like, okay, so what we got is a bunch of little bitty fast dudes. So we need to find ways to allow our little bitty fast dudes to get the ball in space. They're out there running with that diamond offense where the quarterback's in the shotgun and you got these two backs like in front of him and to the sides. Like, this was truly like watching college. I don't say that as a good thing. I don't say that as a bad thing. I say that as we don't really see that in the NFL, or at least I don't have a recollection of seeing that. And them boys went out there and they put up 42 points on the Patriots. I suppose we'll talk a little bit later about what exactly the state of affairs is with the Patriots. But one time for the Kansas City Chiefs, because I figure we get the Patriots on opening night. This is going to be a quick one. They're going to have it at home, and it was real close to being a quick one. We thought they was about to go up 14-0 when Gronk had that pass in the end zone that he wound up letting hit the ground before he could bring it in. It looked like this was about to be light work. Chiefs looked bad on offense in the first half. Alex Smith out here dropping back and falling down. You got all your classic throwing short of the sticks and asking people to go make their own first downs. All of that stuff. There was nothing in the first half that I thought caused a legitimate room for optimism, except the score was a little closer than I think any of us thought that it would be at that point. And then Chiefs came out there and outscored them boys 28-10 in the second half. Like, it was thorough. It was thorough in the second half. And the Chiefs out here getting these dudes in these matchups. So, there was the one where there was the coverage bust, and my man was just wide open down the field, and Smith got it there. Because I remember watching Alex Smith rear back to throw the ball down the field, and I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Something must be wrong. And, yeah, kind of. Dude was butt naked open, standing there by himself. Got it. The one he threw to Tyreek Hill on the left side of the field. Hey, man, dude's open, but that was a good pass. Right? Like, that's just not one that you feel like anybody could just roll out of bed and make. Hey, man, you kind of got to go out there and make your own touchdowns in that offense. But it was a lot. I mean, there was just so much that was going on. Also, Chad, I guess you probably didn't see this, but there was an interview before the game. They did one with Travis Kelce. And Travis Kelce, Mike Tirico was out there and was like, hold on, let me put this water down right fast. And Mike Tirico was like, so tell us about how being named the captain changed your outlook. And Travis Kelce, who, by the way, Shannon, no longer has, the longer haircut that a jerk might have. Now he's got, the close cropped haircut that a jerk might have. And he's, by the way, the guy still wearing hoop earrings.
We were able to find him.
I didn't know they were still in the league, right? So Kelce starts talking about, before the playoff game, Andy Reid named him the captain, and he said he was so overcome, and he said that helped him realize that he had to take take this approach differently, and he couldn't be the guy that was doing all the things that he used to do, and and everything else. During the game, Travis Kelce got himself a personal foul. How Travis Kelce get himself a personal foul? He was down on the bottom of the pile. He had the ball in his hand. He put the ball in somebody's crotch and then pushed up. Shannon, what's up with your mans?
That's my captain? What are the Chiefs supposed to say? Yeah, that's my captain right there.
That's leadership. There we go. That's your mans. That's your mans?
My mans. That's somebody's mans.
That's your mans.
That's Alex Smith's mans.
Hey, Alex, yeah. They are attached at the hip. We could definitely say that. 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. Chiefs defense brought it. Dude, Justin Houston. I feel like Justin Houston is one of those dudes where you get to list in all the best players in the NFL, and you don't remember Justin Houston if you're not watching the Chiefs, and then you watch the Chiefs, and you're like, damn, how did I forget about Justin Houston? It gave them the work. The first half, the Chiefs weren't really bringing much pressure. They did a lot of 3, drop 8. Second half, Justin Houston's like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing now, and he gave them the work. Also, Shannon, Derek Johnson, still in the league.
He says, baby, look at that. Got something to cheer about.
That's, great point. Great point. Way to hold it down for Texas, Derek Johnson. We had a very, very difficult week and change here. I was on the internet today. Saw some people talking about football. It was my man Spencer. It was Holly Anderson. And then Scott Van Pelt jumped in and said something about Texas talking about they lost to Kansas. And I couldn't say nothing back because, Scott Ryan from Maryland, what I'm going to say to that now? Even Scott Van Pelt and Dominique Foxworth get to talk noise to me about college football right now. But no, Derek Johnson still in the league. He's still out there. Also, Shannon, did you know Brandon Cooks was that short? I got to admit, I didn't realize Brandon Cooks was that short.
Like I said yesterday, he's a weapon. He's a threat.
He is a weapon.
He's a weapon. He's a threat.
He also looks like a dude you don't want any problems with because he is listed at 5'10", and I don't believe that 5'10", because he lifts weights like 5'8" guy. 5'8" guy. 5'8" guys in that bad boy. It's 2017. 5'8" guy walking around with the leather weight belt on like he's superstar Billy Graham. I saw him there. I was just like, oh, yeah, no. Brandon Cooks. Also, let me see where they say Brandon Cooks is from. Brandon Cooks went to Oregon State. Oh, Shannon, but he's from Stockton, California. I feel like this is a gentleman with whom you want no problems. It doesn't sound like there's that straight line to go to Oregon State. Because why would anybody do that? All right, 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. Hey, man, you guys are already on the line with your stories about the day that you quit playing football. I told you, we'll take them stories as long as you got them, because they're always funny. Also, coming up next, did the Patriots offense get exposed last night? You listen to ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80.
Okay, Kevin, for the grand prize of $1 million, what color is the White House?
I know this.
5 seconds.
Oh, switching to Geico could save you a bunch of money on car insurance?
Okay. Judges? That's true, Kevin. They'll allow it. Congratulations. You're a winner.
Woo! Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. And hey, time for Straight Talk. Brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. We've been asking you guys to tell us about the day that you realized you didn't want to play football no more. It's provided some delightful stories that allow us to laugh at your misery, but in most cases, you guys have been laughing at your own misery long before. That's why you're so excited to call up and tell us your stories. Let's hit the phones and talk to Deshaun in Georgia. Deshaun, thanks for calling the right time.
Yeah, what's up, Bomani, man? Love the show.
Appreciate it, man.
All right, so first of all, my first memory of football was the 98 Super Bowl. My brother's dad played receiver for the Denver Broncos. So that was the first memory I ever had of football. So, I was never a big fan, but I went out and tried. Freshman year in high school, I go on the field. Coach tells me, we're gonna try you out at tight end. Now I'm about 6 foot, but I only weigh like $140, $150 in high school. But we're gonna try you out as a receiving tight end. Okay, that's fine. Do whatever I get on the field. First game. And he didn't tell me that I was going to be blocking. So I go up against the defensive end. Dude's about 6'3", good 220. So, I get off the line. I'm blocking him. Next thing I know, he punches me in the face mask. Like, bare fist punches me in the face mask. I look at him. I said, what are you doing? He started laughing. So I go back to the sideline. Hey, I'm never doing that again. So then it was one practice. I go on the out route. Ball thrown low. Cornerback comes, gets me from the back. My neck snaps. Helmet kind of partially flies off. So I just take it off. I drop it on the field. Coach comes up and what you doing, man? What you doing? Practice not over with. I said, it's over for me, man. I see you on the baseball field. I can't do this. He said, we'll try it out again. Just give it one more try so the next game comes. There was only one play called for me the whole season. One play the whole season. Parents in the crowd, everything. We're on the 10. I run a little comeback route, sending the end zone wide open. Quarterback throws the ball straight to the linebacker. I said, you know what? I'm out. This ain't for me. I can't get a touchdown. Y'all punch me in the face. I got my own teammates laughing at me because he almost took my head off like that was a big thing. I said, forget this. I'm not doing this anymore. I'll leave this to my brothers, and they did it. I'm good. Bowl, I'll never play in one. I'm done.
Well, hey, Deshaun, I appreciate the call. And Shannon, what I love about that is it wasn't just the physical, it was the mental.
He was done with all of it.
Yeah, he's like, hold up, I don't even get the ball. Like the one time I got a chance, you throw an interception? No, I quit. 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. So, guys, the Patriots' offense did not look very good. I don't know how much of that had to do with Julian Edelman. I do know that I have Chris Hogan on my fantasy team, and I would like to thank him for absolutely nothing. Tom Brady was a robust 16 for 36. That is one of the worst games of his career with regards to completion percentage. And he just didn't look good. Like the balls deep that he was throwing, They didn't really look that good. You saw him get a little jumpy in the pocket once the pressure started coming. He didn't look that great. By the way, I'd like to make a point for you guys. Would you guys like to hear my point? Would you like to hear my point? Okay. Now, I'm not going to come out here today and get on the Tom Brady is old and so forth and so on, like everything has changed overnight, because you need more data points before you can make that sort of conclusion. I have had a game in my life where I watched Tom Brady have this kind of performance against the Chiefs. It was, I believe, the year 2014, and I wound up looking foolish when the Patriots wound up winning the Super Bowl. Nah, man, I'm not saying Tom Brady is finished. I'm not. However, it makes the same amount of sense to say that Tom Brady is finished after that game as it does you fools trying to jump down my throat about Alex Smith because he finally had one game worth of damn. Shannon, can you tell I'm tired of it?
You were tired of it before we even talked about today's show. I knew it was coming.
I was tired of it before he even started playing well last night. Like, I was tired of it while people were trying to rationalize him being not so good when he was actually playing worse than that. Anyway, you get my point on that. Here is Tom Brady says he wasn't so pleased with the performance last night.
I think it's just better execution. I mean, situational football is always important to us, and short yardage and a lot of things that we need to do a better job of. So it was pretty just a very poor effort. We just have to be a lot better in a lot of areas, starting with our attitude and our competitiveness, and we're going to have to do a lot better tonight.
Now, one thing, as I say, I'm not about to get on the train right now with Tom Brady is old, is crashing down, and everything else. But I did feel like in that game, the Patriots treated him like he's old in a way that I don't recall seeing. And the way I felt like the Patriots treated him like he was old was, hey, man, Tom Brady on the quarterback sneak has been pretty much impossible to stop for his whole career. They had 2 4th-and-1s where they went to Mike Gillislee and did not go to Tom Brady. And I'm like, so why not? All right? Like, we're not talking about putting him out there to run the power option. Just go in there and run the sneak. Why not? Like, are y'all afraid the old man's going to break? I believe that is a fair question to ask. But no, I didn't know what to make of the offense, and their defense was, yikes. Yikes. And see, the problem with the Patriots defense is you don't ever really know anybody's names or who's actually good. Like, we're really dependent upon the broadcasters because the Patriots are like the Alabama of the NFL, just a nameless, faceless machine, man. Roll one in, roll one out. That's all they do. They looked bad. And there was just no way around that. But to be fair to the Patriots, if you get caught in situations where you got to have a linebacker on Tyreek Hill, is there a linebacker in the NFL that can do that? Right? Like, can you name a linebacker in the NFL who is capable of doing that? So I wonder how much of that is just a matter of giving credit to the Chiefs and to Andy Reid for figuring out a way to get them dudes on the outside to make things happen. But then just on the other side, they didn't look good. Gronk didn't look good. You know, granted, he had Eric Berry on it for much of the game. Gronk didn't look good when he was out there. Like, who played well for the Patriots? Who can say that? And I understand if he's on your fantasy team, you're going to be like, Mike Gillislee. I mean, he might score some touchdowns, but I don't know if he played well. Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. All right, 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. You boys calling in talking about what made y'all decide to quit football. Let's start to Devin in Pennsylvania. Devin, thanks for calling the right time.
Hey, thanks, Bomani. I grew up in like a little hillbilly town in the middle of nowhere. So freshman year, my school and another school comes together to make up what looks like a football team. So I join, I learn all the basics and good stuff. And of course I didn't know all the upperclassmen in my school yet because I just got to the high school. So field day rolls around, which is basically kids do what they want outside day. And of course what the kids do is limited adult supervision. They do things they're not supposed to, which includes play padless tackle football. So, I'm rolling kids over. Even though I'm a freshman, I'm sitting about 200 pounds. I outweigh everybody. Then there's another kid on the other side who walks up. I still have about 40 pounds on him. He comes at me, and I, of course, square up like I'm supposed to, lower my shoulder like I'm supposed to. And all of a sudden, it feels like a cinder block gets swung into my chest as his shoulder rams into me. Looking up at the sky about a second later, and then his foot lands on my chest, and I didn't at that point in time know that your sternum could reach your spine, but I figured that out pretty quick. And I walk around the rest of the day with a footprint on my chest, only later to find out from some of my friends that that other kid is a all-state wrestling champion who just pals around wherever he pleases. I later go to the other school. My coach knows none of this. And I just handed my stuff and I said, Coach, I'm just going to go throw javelin. It's fine. And he's entirely confused because he wasn't even there.
You know, it's funny about that. And I appreciate the call. Everybody's already got something else they're going to do. I don't know why y'all didn't do that first. All right, 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. Coming up next, we move on to Week 1 matchups from Sunday. Yeah, we got the Bennett brothers on the same field. Sound like a lot of jokes. On ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Our guest join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Just like our next guest, we have him on every week during the NFL season to give us his picks. He's my man out of Toronto. Check him out, AM 570 up there. His name is Cam Stewart. Cam, you ready, man?
I'm ready, Bomani. Sorry, I had to duck into the supermarket. I didn't make it to the studio between shows, so I hope everything's okay. But I got a relationship with the butcher. He gives me a great deal for this weekend's barbecue. I'm fired up for college and the NFL. Let's rock, buddy.
All right, let's go. Check this out. We got Eagles. We've got Washington. The Eagles are a 1-point favorite playing on the road. That kind of counts as a home dog for Washington, right? Kind of. Which way you going?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, Bomani. When you look at the Eagles, you're thinking, wow, you think about a home field advantage, but they actually played better football on the road. I really like Carson Wentz this year. I think him and Zach Ertz are going to have a great chemistry. As for Washington, I think this team is going to gel a little bit later, but at the start, a horrible preseason. They look bad on offense. They look brutal on defense. And I'll tell you, the new additions, losing Garçon, a veteran in the room, I think is going to affect these guys early. It's going to be an interesting game, but I really, really like the Eagles to get it done on the road, and it's basically a pick 'em, so sign me up with the other dirty bird, the Eagles.
Yeah, we're talking to Cam Stewart on the right time. All right, Falcons and Bears. All right, now the Falcons, last year was kind of crushing. I know you keep those kinds of things in mind when you make picks, but they're 7-point favorites on the road. Are you pounding the home dog?
Yeah, you know what it is, Bomani? It's one of those games, and people are telling me I'm crazy. And when we're going to do the segments, I'm bound to take the dog. But sometimes an interesting stat, too. The Super Bowl losing teams since 2000 against the spread, 2-15 in their openers. I'm not going to say Chicago are going to be world beaters. They got Mike Glennon at quarterback. They still do have some weapons, but I expect them to compete. Atlanta's, they're great at home, nice, quick offense, the tempo. Against in Chicago, I don't think it's going to be as smooth. I actually think this is going to be a very, very tight game where Atlanta squeaks it out. You're giving me a converted touchdown with the Bears. Even in some places, I'm seeing 6.5. So I'm telling you, I think Chicago hangs around. And, give me the Bears. They call me Orso Grande. I'm going with my namesake, the Bears.
By the way, I have not talked to you since the Super Bowl, and I cannot remember. Did the Falcons do you wrong?
Actually, I had them on the spread, Bomani, but thank God I teased them too, but it would have been a disaster. I know my bar, I was working at a bar gig. The owner of my bar, he's a big-time gambler. He had New England first half or whatever. The guy was down like $15K. He won $45K in the second half, hit everything with the Patriots in the comeback. But I'm telling you, lots of sad people. I was cheering for Atlanta. I'm not going to lie to you. When the Patriots lost last night, I had a smile on my face. I was with Kansas City. I just wish I didn't tease it to the under. Should have just took the chef straight up. But what a crazy way to start the season, buddy. We haven't seen a team like that go down, and about 10% of survivor picks, I think, are down the toilet, too. A lot of people love New England.
All right, we're talking to Cam Stewart on the right time, getting his NFL picks. All right, Jaguars and Texans. The Jaguars are on the road. They're 6-point underdogs. Are you taking them?
Yeah, hey, Bomani, this is going to be an unpopular pick like a lot of stuff, and I'll probably get it on Twitter, but this is the thing about the Jaguars. Guys at my work, too, at the Fantasy Sports Network, are like, Houston's a lock. Not so fast. The Jaguars, last year, with the same quarterback, Blake Bortles, on the same team, but not as good of a defense, they lost by 1 point and 3 points. So in those two games versus the Texans, 4 points combined. I understand the story of Houston, and God bless everybody down there. I hope, I'm proud of what J.J. Watt's done and everybody for chipping in. But these guys have a lot on their minds. I know the Jaguars aren't world beaters, but a tough, tight game. Savage versus Bortles. I see a lot of defense on both sides of the ball here. And 6, it's a lot to cover. So, wow, give me the Jaguars. Won't be hearing that too much, but I think they cover that number.
All right, now let's talk about what's going on in Nashville. Raiders and Titans. The Titans are 2-point favorites at home. Which way are you going?
Yeah, my buddy Joe's going to that game. I'll tell you, for all the people who go out to Nashville, what a beautiful city. It's a lot of fun. And I really like Tennessee in this spot. The line right now, it's 2, and people are originally liked Oakland in this game. This is a big, big revenge spot for the Titans. I know a lot of people are high on Mariota and fantasy. I am too. Corey Davis from Western Michigan, loved him in college. Two-headed beast at running back. And as for the Raiders, they won a lot of squeakers last year, Bomani. I think they're a decent team, but a lot of people are talking AFC Championship game. I don't see it. That defense still has holes. Tennessee, also revenge spot. 3 huge turnovers in that loss to the Raiders by a touchdown last year. Give me the Titans at home. Hey, they win by a field goal. We cover. I'm on Tennessee.
All right, talking to Cam Stewart of the Fantasy Sports Network here on the right time, getting his NFL picks. All right, Monday night, we got the Adrian Peterson polls. Saints and Vikings. Vikings, 3.5-point favorites at home. Which way you going?
Hey, Bomani, I'm really high on the Vikings this year, just not in week 1, and I love the angle with Adrian Peterson. I also will tell you about the Saints. They're a team, I think, that is getting disrespected by Vegas at the start of the year. Let's remember, defensive starters last year, they had the most out. They were banged up. They had second and third stringers going week after week. Kenny Vaccaro's back. Good drafts. We love Drew Brees, Michael Thomas. What can we say about this team? We're going to score. But the one thing about the Saints that people aren't going to realize is their defense can't be any worse than last year. It's a hell of a lot better. We're getting 3.5 points. And as for Minnesota, I like their defense, but that offense, it's going to have some little problems to get clicking. I get over a field goal in this game. So give me the hook. Give me the Saints at plus 3.5.
All right, Dr. Cam Stewart on the right time, getting his NFL picks. You played any of the prop bets this year?
Yeah, well, last night it was great. We had Kareem Hunt and over total yards, Bomani. I couldn't believe he was going to set a rookie record there with the great Billy Sims. That was fantastic. I can't lie, though. When I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I thought Hogan would get more than 3.5 catches. He ended up running the ball for the Patriots, not scoring. But my one prop, and this is not a homer bet, Bomani, you know me for a long time. I am a Seahawk fan, so I have to tell people that. But if you're looking for a real dark horse at MVP, just looking at value, Russell Wilson at 12-1, why not? He looks trim. He looks angry. The one problem, the Seahawks offensive line, George Fant is out, but if they find a way to patch that up, he's going to be leaner. He's going to be running more. And you know what? I see huge things for him this year. Russell Wilson looks like a man possessed. He's got a little bit of anger, not that cuddly teddy bear. He's got something in his eye that says, I want to destroy teams. So I'm just looking for a value perspective. I know people will talk about Brady and Rodgers and everybody else, but at 12-1, Russell Wilson, I think he's going to light it up for the fantasy world this year and in the reality world. Give me Russell Wilson, 12-1 MVP.
I got to say, I need to see the angle you're looking at Russell Wilson where you see all that fury because he tries to hide that at all times.
He does, Bomani, but you've seen him. Like, I watched a lot of those Seahawk preseason games with Warren Moon. We get all the channels here, and there's something different about him this year. I think he was very dissatisfied the way they went out to the Falcons. This was a guy that was putting on a little bit of weight. He looks leaner, meaner. Also, with Seattle, you get Earl Thomas back. That's going to help out everybody. I think this is a team on a mission. They understand their window it's now or never for them. They want to get back there. I expect a big year for the Seahawks before things start to trend downward. So, hey, I believe in the offense. Doug Baldwin is an underrated touchdown machine, and they'll figure it out with running back by committee. So I'm just saying, when you look at guys who are 2-1, 4-1, 6-1, I get a world-class player at 12-1. I'm just saying exceptional value for a guy that could be there in the voting.
All right, that is Cam Stewart. Check him out every week with us here to get his NFL picks. Before we let you go, man, let the people know how they can find you.
Hey, Bomani, you can find me at Cam Stewart Live on Twitter. By the way, met a lot of your fans when I was down in Vegas, basically living there for 2 weeks. I was at the Horse Book, and a guy recognized my voice, goes, hey, I heard you on the right time with Bomani Jones. So we hit it off there. It was fantastic. Also doing some stuff at AM 640 in Toronto, a couple other stations, and I am the rep for Pizzaville, Bomani. So if you ever come up to Canada, I can hook you up with a couple free pies, and good luck with everybody with their fantasy picks and betting picks, and let's hit some winner this week, and I'll catch you next week, my friend.
I knew that friendship would pay off with pizza, but man, you have a good one.
Have a good one, Bomani. Have a great day, and hope your picks go great this weekend.
All right, I appreciate it, man. All right, 888-729-3776, Shannon, Pizzaville. Remember that. You go up there and be like, yo, I'm with Cam. I also said that man's radio station wrong like 4 times.
We got it right, though.
Pizzaville, though. I'm going to know that forever. Pizzaville. 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. Coming up next, we're still going to try to figure out what the hell happened last night in Foxborough on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Our guest join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Just like our next guest, we have him on every week during the NFL season to give us his picks. He's my man out of Toronto. Check him out, AM 570 up there. His name is Cam Stewart. Cam, you ready, man?
I'm ready, Bomani. Sorry, I had to duck into the supermarket. I didn't make it to the studio between shows, so I hope everything's okay. But I got a relationship with the butcher. He gives me a great deal for this weekend's barbecue. I'm fired up for college and the NFL. Let's rock, buddy.
All right, let's go. Check this out. We got Eagles. We've got Washington. The Eagles are a 1-point favorite playing on the road. That kind of counts as a home dog for Washington, right? Kind of. Which way you going?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, Bomani. When you look at the Eagles, you're thinking, wow, you think about a home field advantage, but they actually played better football on the road. I really like Carson Wentz this year. I think him and Zach Ertz are going to have a great chemistry. As for Washington, I think this team is going to gel a little bit later, but at the start, a horrible preseason. They look bad on offense. They look brutal on defense. And I'll tell you, the new additions, losing Garcon, a veteran in the room, I think is going to affect these guys early. It's going to be an interesting game, but I really, really like the Eagles to get it done on the road, and it's basically a pick 'em, so sign me up with the other dirty bird, the Eagles.
Yeah, we're talking to Cam Stewart on the right time. All right, Falcons and Bears. All right, now the Falcons, last year was kind of crushing. I know you keep those kinds of things in mind when you make picks, but they're 7-point favorites on the road. Are you pounding the home dog?
Yeah, you know what it is, Bomani? It's one of those games, and people are telling me I'm crazy. And when we're going to do the segments, I'm bound to take the dog. But sometimes an interesting stat, too. The Super Bowl losing teams since 2000 against the spread, 2-15 in their openers. I'm not going to say Chicago are going to be world beaters. They got Mike Glennon at quarterback. They still do have some weapons, but I expect them to compete. Atlanta's, they're great at home, nice, quick offense, the tempo. Against in Chicago, I don't think it's going to be as smooth. I actually think this is going to be a very, very tight game where Atlanta squeaks it out. You're giving me a converted touchdown with the Bears. Even in some places, I'm seeing 6.5. So I'm telling you, I think Chicago hangs around. And, give me the Bears. They call me Orso Grande. I'm going with my namesake, the Bears.
By the way, I have not talked to you since the Super Bowl, and I cannot remember. Did the Falcons do you wrong?
Actually, I had them on the spread, Bomani, but thank God I teased them too, but it would have been a disaster. I know my bar, I was working at a bar gig. The owner of my bar, he's a big-time gambler. He had New England first half or whatever. The guy was down like $15K. He won $45K in the second half, hit everything with the Patriots in the comeback. But I'm telling you, lots of sad people. I was cheering for Atlanta. I'm not going to lie to you. When the Patriots lost last night, I had a smile on my face. I was with Kansas City. I just wish I didn't tease it to the under. Should have just took the chef straight up. But what a crazy way to start the season, buddy. We haven't seen a team like that go down, and about 10% of survivor picks, I think, are down the toilet, too. A lot of people love New England.
All right, we're talking to Cam Stewart on the right time, getting his NFL picks. All right, Jaguars and Texans. The Jaguars are on the road. They're 6-point underdogs. Are you taking them?
Yeah, hey, Bomani, this is going to be an unpopular pick like a lot of stuff, and I'll probably get it on Twitter, but this is the thing about the Jaguars. Guys at my work, too, at the Fantasy Sports Network, like Houston's a lock. Not so fast. The Jaguars, last year, with the same quarterback, Blake Bortles, on the same team, but not as good of a defense, they lost by 1 point and 3 points. So in those two games versus the Texans, 4 points combined. I understand the story of Houston, and God bless everybody down there. I hope, I'm proud of what J.J. Watt's done and everybody for chipping in. But these guys have a lot on their minds. I know the Jaguars aren't world beaters, but a tough, tight game. Savage versus Bortles. I see a lot of defense on both sides of the ball here. And 6, it's a lot to cover. So, wow, give me the Jaguars. Won't be hearing that too much, but I think they cover that number.
All right, now let's talk about what's going on in Nashville. Raiders and Titans. The Titans are 2-point favorites at home. Which way are you going?
Yeah, my buddy Joe's going to that game, and I'll tell you, for all the people who go out to Nashville, what a beautiful city. It's a lot of fun, and I really like Tennessee in this spot. The line right now, it's 2, and people are originally liked Oakland in this game. This is a big revenge spot for the Titans. I know a lot of people are high on Mariota and fantasy. I am too. Corey Davis from Western Michigan, loved him in college. Two-headed beast at running back. And as for the Raiders, they won a lot of squeakers last year, Bomani. I think they're a decent team, but a lot of people are talking AFC Championship game. I don't see it. That defense still has holes. Tennessee, also revenge spot. 3 huge turnovers in that loss to the Raiders by a touchdown last year. Give me the Titans at home. Hey, they win by a field goal. We cover. I'm on Tennessee.
All right, talking to Cam Stewart of the Fantasy Sports Network here on the right time, getting his NFL picks. All right, Monday night, we got the Adrian Peterson polls. Saints and Vikings. Vikings, 3.5-point favorites at home. Which way you going?
Hey, Bomani, I'm really high on the Vikings this year, just not in week 1, and I love the angle with Adrian Peterson. I also will tell you about the Saints. They're a team, I think, that is getting disrespected by Vegas at the start of the year. Let's remember, defensive starters last year, they had the most out. They were banged up. They had second and third stringers going week after week. Kenny Vaccaro's back. Good drafts. We love Drew Brees, Michael Thomas. What can we say about this team? We're going to score. But the one thing about the Saints that people aren't going to realize is their defense can't be any worse than last year. It's a hell of a lot better. We're getting 3.5 points. And as for Minnesota, I like their defense, but that offense, it's going to have some little problems to get clicking. I get over a field goal in this game. So give me the hook. Give me the Saints at plus 3.5.
All right, Dr. Cam Stewart on the right time getting his NFL picks. You played any of the prop bets this year?
Yeah, well, last night it was great. We had Kareem Hunt and over total yards, Bomani. I couldn't believe he was going to set a rookie record there with the great Billy Sims. That was fantastic. I can't lie, though. When I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I thought Hogan would get more than 3.5 catches. He ended up running the ball for the Patriots, not scoring. But my one prop, and this is not a homer bet, Bomani, you know me for a long time. I am a Seahawk fan, so I have to tell people that. But if you're looking for a real dark horse at MVP, just looking at value, Russell Wilson at 12-1, why not? He looks trim. He looks angry. The one problem, the Seahawks offensive line, George Fant is out, but if they find a way to patch that up, he's going to be leaner. He's going to be running more. And you know what? I see huge things for him this year. Russell Wilson looks like a man possessed. He's got a little bit of anger, not that cuddly teddy bear. He's got something in his eye that says, I want to destroy teams. So I'm just looking for a value perspective. I know people will talk about Brady and Rodgers and everybody else, but at 12-1, Russell Wilson, I think he's going to light it up for the fantasy world this year and in the reality world. Give me Russell Wilson, 12-1 MVP.
I got to say, I need to see the angle you're looking at Russell Wilson where you see all that fury because he tries to hide that at all times.
He does, Bomani, but you've seen him. Like, I watched a lot of those Seahawk preseason games with Warren Moon. We get all the channels here, and there's something different about him this year. I think he was very dissatisfied the way they went out to the Falcons. This was a guy that was putting on a little bit of weight. He looks leaner, meaner. Also, with Seattle, you get Earl Thomas back. That's going to help out everybody. I think this is a team on a mission. They understand their window it's now or never for them. They want to get back there. I expect a big year for the Seahawks before things start to trend downward. So, hey, I believe in the offense. Doug Baldwin is an underrated touchdown machine, and they'll figure it out with running back by committee. So I'm just saying, when you look at guys who are 2-1, 4-1, 6-1, I get a world-class player at 12-1. I'm just saying exceptional value for a guy that could be there in the voting.
All right, that is Cam Stewart. Check him out every week with us here to get his NFL picks. Before we let you go, man, let the people know how they can find you.
Hey, Bomani, you can find me at Cam Stewart Live on Twitter. By the way, met a lot of your fans when I was down in Vegas, basically living there for 2 weeks. I was at the Horse Book, and a guy recognized my voice, goes, hey, I heard you on the right time with Bomani Jones. So we hit it off there. It was fantastic. Also doing some stuff at AM 640 in Toronto, a couple other stations, and I am the rep for Pizzaville, Bomani. So if you ever come up to Canada, I can hook you up with a couple free pies, and good luck with everybody with their fantasy picks and betting picks, and let's hit some winner this week, and I'll catch you next week, my friend.
I knew that friendship would pay off with pizza, but man, you have a good one.
Have a good one, Bomani. Have a great day, and hope your picks go great this weekend.
All right, I appreciate it, man. All right, 888-729-3776, Shannon, Pizzaville. Remember that. You go up there and be like, yo, I'm with Cam. I also said that man's radio station wrong like 4 times.
We got it right, though.
Pizzaville, though. I'm going to know that forever. Pizzaville. 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. Coming up next, we're still going to try to figure out what the hell happened last night in Foxborough on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
What if I told you some stories you need to hear to believe?
Everywhere you went, Dan and Dave.
And that's these 2 athletes that are going to go to the Olympics this year, and it's going to be settled in Barcelona.
When Reebok approached Dave and I, the first thing both of us said, neither one of us are on this team yet.
The thought never, ever crossed my mind that Dan nor Dave would not make that Olympic team.
The all-new 30 for 30 podcast. Subscribe now on the ESPN app or Apple Podcasts.
30 for 30 podcast is presented by Mini. We're finding the best sports stories for you right now. And to do that, we're behind the wheel of the new Mini Countryman, the biggest Mini yet.
Please proceed to the highlighted route.
To find great sports stories, you have to get out into the world and follow your instincts. That's where the new Mini Countryman's all-wheel drive comes in handy. With all 4, we can chase down a story in the city, the country, and most places in between. No matter what story you're chasing, the new Mini Countryman will help you find it. It's available now, and so are 30 for 30 podcasts.
My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. You can send us a tweet at the 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed. That is at Bomani_Jones. So as you may have heard last night, Chiefs, I don't know if they beat the brakes off of the Patriots. Now the breaks feels a little bit excessive, but they did give him some work. At the very least, like, I think we need to come up with a hierarchy of our various levels of slang on when somebody gets beat. So, like, I feel like beat the brakes off of somebody, that is a step short of a mollywhopping, which is a little bit short of Peter roll, which is below beat 'em down. Right? You know, then you got like your little classifications like the 50 piece, the 40 ounce, you know, those sorts of things. Anyway, Chiefs gave the Patriots the beats. Serious question. How many poor performances would the Patriots have to roll out there before you got worried? And I guess worry becomes its own sort of term when we're discussing them, because I don't know what in the world they'd have to do for us to think that they weren't going to win that division. Like, for them to not win the AFC East, the only thing I figured they could do was go 6-10. Because I think 7-9 will get the job done. I feel like 7-9 will get them where they need to be. 6-10, okay, maybe it might be a little bit dicey. But what's it going to take? Because they didn't look like a good football team yesterday. Now, of course, we're going to have, week one, what a team is going to look like even in week 3 is only going to have but so much to do with how they looked in week 1. So there's a chance for them to put this together, and I believe the announcers were telling us very much about the Patriots putting different people in new places, and they just got to figure out where they are and so forth and so on and everything else. Okay. We love that. We respect that. We understand that. But what would it take for you to worry? Because Brady looked bad. I had people trying to tell me that Tom Brady did not look bad yesterday. They're like, well, he didn't have any turnovers. Dude, 16 for 36. That's bad, guys. That's bad. There's no way around that. In the way the passes looked that he wasn't connecting on, those looked bad. We always talk about how, okay, well, if you give Brady time to in the pocket, that he's going to stop and he's going to figure out what it is to do. Okay, he completed 46.7% of his passes against a 3-man rush. So that means you're giving him all the time in the world. He couldn't find anybody to throw the ball to. Trying to throw the ball to the tight ends. Throwing the ball to the tight ends did not work. Brandon Cooks had that big play, the 54-yarder, so we can't say that they didn't make anything happen, but they just didn't look good. And I don't know how much of that is not looking good just as, okay, you had an off night, but for all the noise that we talk about the Patriots, these sorts of things supposedly don't happen to them. Let us tell it, right? Like, we hold them according to a standard that is not the same for anybody else. How many games would the Patriots have to lose? What kind of record would they have to be? If they rattled off 1-3, are you worried? 1-4, are you worried? Because I'm not going to lie. 1-3, I'm probably not worried. But if it's 1-3 and Tom Brady looks bad in, say, 3 out of the 4 games, then do you worry? Because the problem we got with Tom Brady is ain't nobody going to be the one trying to get in front of the train and say, yo, this is the year that he's going to look bad. We're going to jump on it after the train is already going and sputtering, and then we'll be like, well, Tom Brady is getting kind of old. Although, Shannon, didn't he say he wanted to play till he was 65 or something? And people were acting like it was possible?
Essentially, Tom Brady wants to play forever.
Yeah, but I think he said 45 was the number that he threw out there, and people were really out here entertaining that like that's something that you can bet on happening. Right? Like, they really out there, I think Tom Brady can get it done. So if Tom Brady comes out here and has 3 of his first 4 games, he's looking bad and he's looking a little bit old, do you worry? Now, new fun question. And, guys, I'm not saying this is going to happen. This is purely an intellectual exercise. I'm not trying to start any level of controversy. If you start a controversy off of this, you're doing it your damn self. Shannon, how bad would Brady have to look for how long before Belichick goes to the bullpen? What would it take?
Like on a part-time basis, or like for good, like the real closer?
Like the quarterback is all holed up, and I think we need to try to shake things up. How bad would it have to get? Anybody else on that roster would be susceptible to this, right? How bad would it have to get before you decide you going to Garoppolo?
Do your job.
Oh, that's how you go straight there, huh?
Like, isn't that the Belichick and the Patriots slogan, right? Do your job.
Do your job. That's right. So how poor a job would Tom Brady have to do before they made the decision to go to the Oak, right? So, again, we are going to see what this team turns into. One advantage that you have from playing that first game of the year on a Thursday is now you get 10 days before your next game. And, look, if the Patriots' defense was a problem, then they going to have real problems next week, because next week is in the Dome in New Orleans. Like, if their defense is an issue, oh, buddy, they are going to have a problem, right? But I guess in the week, everybody gets to learn some schemes, see what's going on the board. I have no idea what it is. So we're not going to panic about the Patriots losing the game. We're not going to flip out because the Patriots are 0-1. But when's the last time you saw the Patriots give up 42 points? Because I do not believe that has happened in the era of Bill Belichick. I don't think they've given up 42 points at any other time in this. You look at their defense, how many great players are we looking at on that defense? How much just flat out talent are we talking about them having on defense? What is this going to be? Because that second half was disheartening. I think that's the way I would look at it if I were an actual Patriots fan. It was disheartening. Disheartened Bill Belichick, too. He said they weren't competitive anywhere. Nope, not at all.
All right, we didn't really do much of anything well enough tonight to deserve to win. We gave up 42 points, stopped on 4 short yardage plays. Got to coach better, got to practice better, got to play better. We got a lot of work to do. I mean, that's obvious. We'll have to get back to work and see if we can improve pretty much everything. Just not good enough. Andy, Kansas City did a good job. Give them credit. But we just really weren't competitive enough, especially on offense and defense. Just made too many mistakes and didn't play well on top of that. Fundamentals weren't good enough. Really nothing was good enough. So we all got to do a better job. That's going to be pretty much the answer to every question because that's what it was.
I love how I let you know now. There you go. I've just answered every question you have.
He named everything. Yeah, we weren't good on offense. We weren't good on defense. The pregame meal really wasn't that good.
No. He said we weren't good enough, especially on offense and defense. I understand special teams is another phase, but when you say especially on offense and defense, my dude, that's especially on everything. I don't feel like especially is necessarily the appropriate way that you would go about talking about that under those circumstances. By the way, how unpleasant must he be the week after a win? Because he don't seem like, week after a loss, because he don't seem like much fun the week after a win. Right? I just can't imagine what it's like walking into the building after losing the game with Belichick. Because walking in after winning the Super Bowl, time to get back to work. We have things to do. Can't rest on your laurels.
What was one of the things that Nick Saban, a former assistant of Belichick, said? Saban, after winning the national title, was like, what? He was upset because that took away a day from him recruiting?
That's right. But at least there's recruiting. In the NFL, Belichick is just kind of like, yeah, okay, after the Super Bowl, I'll be happy for 15, 20 minutes. 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. We've been letting you boys call in and tell us about the day that you realize you need to quit playing football. Let's hit the phones and talk to Tony in Massachusetts. Tony, thanks for calling the right time.
Hey, what's going on, Bo? Shannon?
Yes,
How
sir.
you guys doing? Hope everything's well.
Yes, sir.
So I'm from a small school in Kentucky, and this is leading up to football. I actually just played soccer and track and stuff like that. I was pretty well built, 5'9", 165. So this is the first and last year that I played football, but we had a full-on scrimmage, offense versus defense. Now I played corner. And I noticed before the snap that our running back was actually in the slot, and the wide receiver was in the running back position. So when they snapped the ball, they tossed it to the opposite side, and then ran a reverse handoff to the running back. And then I got off the block, and I'm thinking, I'm going to get this guy behind the line of scrimmage. Bomani, this man hit me so hard that my helmet fell off. Now, that's not even the craziest part. He knocked my shoe off. And I didn't even notice it until somebody said something because I was I was seeing stars, I'm pretty sure I got a concussion from that hit. And to let you know, that man who hit me was Sean Alexander.
Oh!
Yeah. So, like I said, that was the first year and the last year that I played football. I went and took my behind back to soccer.
I think you made the right decision, my brother, and I appreciate the call. Sean Alexander. That eyebrow came through and got you. 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. The Right Time is brought to you by Pennzoil Synthetics. Taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. Coming up next, will Odell Beckham play on Sunday night? Cowboys and Giants. We'll talk about it on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80.
Okay, Kevin, for the grand prize of $1 million. What color is the White House?
I know this.
5 seconds.
Oh, Switching to Geico could save you a bunch of money on car insurance?
Okay. Judges? That's true, Kevin. They'll allow it. Congratulations. You're a winner.
Woo! Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. Herm Edwards will join us next segment. Herm Edwards will join us at 5:30 Eastern. 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. We've been asking y'all to call in. Tell us about the day that you decided, I don't want to play football no more. Let's hit the phone. Talk to Tim in Washington. Tim, thanks for calling the right time.
Hey, Bo, what's going on, man?
Doing all right, man.
So you guys got a lot of small guys calling in. I'm a big boy. I played my senior year. I think I was 6'2", 245, offensive lineman. We had huge guys in Wisconsin growing up and that kind of stuff. But talking about the snot knockers and that kind of stuff, my sophomore year, I was the long snapper for the punt team. You get a free release in Wisconsin, couldn't hit the long snapper, so I got a free release downfield, and I had kind of a head cold. When I hit that kid, my entire nose emptied all over the back of his jersey, just a huge, nasty mess all over his jersey. And I wasn't like a D1 guy or anything, but I could have played D3, and I went to college there, but financially, I couldn't do it. I had to work a job and that kind of stuff on the weekends for my car payments. But Urlacher's little brother played a team in our conference and that kind of stuff, and I was running chains on the sideline. I remember being out there running the chains, and our running back was coming over towards us, and I went to yell at him to watch out because Urlacher's brother was coming, and he just lit him up. I barely got out of the way myself on the sideline because I was too interested in trying to keep a running back from getting hit. And I knew right then, I could be playing, but I probably shouldn't. It's not a good thing. I'm not that good.
Yeah, I find that when people watch football, and I appreciate the call, when they watch it, they're like, whoa, what in the world was I doing? This is insane. All right, 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. We got the Giants and the Cowboys on Sunday night. We know that Ezekiel Elliott will be playing in Week 1. We don't know if he'll play in Week 2. We hope to hear news of that during the show. But we know that he will be playing Week 1. We do not know if Odell Beckham will be playing in Week 1. He has been listed as questionable. Shannon, didn't he have one of them high ankle sprains?
High ankle sprain, yes.
That's what he's got. And by the way, I found out the high ankle sprain is not about the height. It goes the other way. So like how you roll your ankle in basketball, you roll it to the outside. The high ankle sprain is when you roll it to the inside. Thank you, whoever put that in my Twitter mentions. I thought he was trying to do all well, actually, on the joke, and then I realized, actually, I had no idea what he was talking about. Anyway, Odell going to play, right? Now, Shannon, I feel like you don't believe there's any way that Odell would let a moment like that pass without playing.
Absolutely not. And let's remember, Odell sat out, I think it was 3 or 4 games his rookie year with a lingering hamstring injury.
Yes.
Or was it nagging? Was it lingering or was it nagging?
I think that was lingering.
Okay, he had a lingering hamstring issue to start his rookie year. But this season here, coming off the offseason, everything that he's had, and the talks of wanting to be the highest paid player, you got Sunday night against Dallas. Oh, he's not missing this game.
And by the way, to be clear, it's lingering if you can't play. It's nagging if you can play through it. It's just a hassle, right? Plus, you know why Odell going to play tonight. Look, man, if you think he spent all that time in the mirror perfecting his moves, if you think he and the wide receivers spent all that time after practice working on their group steps, you think Odell's about to miss his chance to do that on the star? On the star? You think he's going to miss that? There's no chance.
We get the receiving call from the Giants to bust out some sort of either Jackson 5 or Temptations routine.
I'm actually thinking something from Thriller. Are they going to do that thing where they shake their shoulders and then clap at the top? You know that one? That's where I imagine they go. That's where I figure they do. There's that when you can see me, the other people can't. That's where I think they probably go wind up getting down with it. Or I can imagine Odell trying to do a full-on reenactment of the Remember the Time video where he gets to be Michael Jackson. And the rest of them like, I ain't going to be Eddie Murphy.
How extravagant do you think his dance celebrations where another wide receiver's like, hey, Odell, we probably need to walk that back just a little bit. That's a little too much, Odell.
We're talking about a man who proposed to a kicking net. Like, let us not forget that. Odell Beckham proposed to the kicking net. By the way, Jenny, you root for the Giants. How you feeling about the squad this year? You got you a nice little defense. I just have no idea, especially without Odell, how they going to score any points.
I still have concerns about the running game, and more importantly, I have concerns about the offensive line. And so if you have questionable offensive line play, how can Eli then have time to get it to those receivers?
Has Eric Flowers become that guy for y'all?
Yes. Yes, he is now the Will Beatty for me.
Ooh, yeah, Will Beatty.
Choker.
You remember that year? I think the Panthers won like 12 games that year, but that year we thought Ron Rivera was going to get fired, and Jerry Richardson was down on the sideline in Charlotte, and they played a game against the Giants, and I watched that, and the only thing I thought, I sent a Hall of Fame defensive lineman a text. I was just like, their left tackle is the worst player I've ever seen. I'm pretty sure that was Will Beatty.
Choker.
They was running him. Yes, your boy. Oh, he wore a choker?
You know that? Oh, look at Will Beatty. Yeah, he wore a choker when he played.
Was it really like a necklace and he's just really big so it looked like a choker?
Look it up. It was a choker.
I'm guessing that was a thing among you Giants fans, wasn't it?
About the rest of them, I don't know if it was a thing for Allie, but it was a thing for me, though.
Also of note, is Landon Collins going to be good again this year? Because we had kind of written Landon Collins off at least as a cover safety, and then all of a sudden he turned into maybe the best defensive player in the league last year. What are we going to get out of him this year?
The thing as well is like the expectations for that. You can't go out here and assume that Collins is going to be able to do everything that he did last year, especially him in the coverage. Like I still think he's going to be above average and a Pro Bowl caliber safety, no doubt about it. But still, he did things in coverage last year that I didn't see him do at Alabama.
No, and they have a really good secondary. Like I think we lose sight of how good their secondary is. So Landon Collins is a Pro Bowler. Janoris Jenkins, I don't know if he's ever made a Pro Bowl, but he is a Pro Bowl caliber player. But with 3 names, you still play for them?
Kamada, yes.
Syllables. You got to admit that's a lot of syllables.
They drafted Eli Apple last year in the first round.
Oh, that's right. He's hurt though, right? Or didn't he get hurt in the preseason or something?
He'll be around.
This weekend he'll be around. But no, they straight there. Your man, nope, not going to say that. Jason Pierre-Paul, he came through and played all right last year, right?
And he's putting it all together.
Dude, I just don't know what is and is not appropriate to say about that situation.
It's actually a general question in regards to the NFC East, though. Like, going into it, a lot of people seem to be high on the Giants, but you can't forget about what Dallas did last year. Like who do you like? I know we don't do predictions on the show, but who do you like in the NFC East?
I think Dallas is definitely the best team in that division. Like, that's the way I feel about it. I think that they are the best team in that division, at least till the ACL start tearing. All right, 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number here on The Right Time. Coming up next, we're going to talk to Herm Edwards to get you ready for the first Sunday of NFL action on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80. Welcome back to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Our guest join us on the Shell Penzo Performance Line. Just like our guest, he needs a little introduction. His name is Herm Edwards. All right, Herm, how surprised were you by what happened last night in Foxborough?
Well, wasn't surprised that maybe they could get beat with how they got beat. I mean, that's really, what was surprising, I think, to everybody that watched this game. I mean, you're talking about a team, the New England Patriots, with Captain America, that basically don't lose at home, and if they do, it's generally one of those hard-fought games. I thought early in the contest, the 4th and 1 was a big turning point, I think, for the Chiefs. When obviously New England's going for it and trying to get up by 14 points and didn't make it, the whole momentum of the game changed, and it seemed like that New England was in a little bit of a shock. And then from there, Kansas City just kind of kept putting it on them. I mean, it's just kind of like, okay, well, guess what? You didn't convert this, and we think we can beat you. And sure enough, this dink and dunk offense, they talk about Alex Smith not throwing the ball down the field. Well, I guess he proved everybody wrong last night, didn't he?
Well, I say at least for a day. Now, I did want to ask you, though, about that offense, because have you ever seen any offense that looked that collegiate in the NFL?
No, and that's what Andy brings to the table. This offense that he runs, it's unique in the sense. A lot of formations, a lot of personnel groups. And basically, they're a horizontal offense. They're going to attack the inside of your numbers with their players. They're not an offense that's set up to throw the ball inside the numbers. And when you watched it last night, they were able to do that and really did some things very, very good. Got some matchups against the linebackers with the backs of the tight end. And then when they went deep, New England blew a coverage. And then what was really interesting was that when they ran the ball, and this is one of the New England's defensive staples, to feel the edge. They were soft on the edge of their defense, New England Patriots, and the Chiefs took advantage of it and ran right around the corner.
Now, is this the sort of offense you can see the rest of the league catching up to? Because, I mean, they were running the triple option, basically. Different fours, but it was the triple option.
Yeah. Well, you know, they're game plan specific, obviously, and they're gonna do things that they think will be successful around, against your defense. But I do know this. One thing will never change. They will attack the inside of your defense with the tight end, with obviously Hill. Now they found a runner in Hunt who had an excellent day after the first fumble. Everybody said, well, he's a rookie. And then all of a sudden he set a record after that. So, good for the Chiefs. I mean, they were the better team last night. Where New England goes, I mean, everyone's going to have to figure that out. We've seen this story before, though, right? I mean, you remember the last time.
The exact same story.
Right? We saw Alex Smith late. You know, Alex Smith is kind of like Eli all of a sudden. He's the kryptonite for Tom Brady. He's played Tom Brady twice and hung up 40 points on him 2 times.
We are talking to Herm Edwards here on the Right Time. Now, with the Patriots, how much of what you saw do you think was Edelman not being there?
Oh, that had a lot to do with it. You know, when Amendola went down, Tom didn't have a security blanket to throw the ball to, and that was the problem. You know, he's got some new receivers. Dorsett, obviously, Cooks comes in there. Gronk, to me, and you watched it last night too, I don't know if he's well. He labored when he ran. It didn't look like the same Gronk. You know, and when Amendola went down, that was kind of it, along with the ability of the Chiefs to rush 3 guys to drop 8 in coverage. And generally when you do that, Bomani, what ends up happening is the quarterback has a lot of time, and receivers generally find a way to get open in those little voided zones. Amendola could do that, but when he left the scene, they were helpless.
All right, we're talking to Herm Edwards here on the Right Time. Now, switching gears, I want to talk about the game between the Raiders and the Titans. How good are you expecting the Titans to be this year?
I expect them to win the division. I think they're a powerful team, and it starts with their front, with their offensive line. They got a nice offensive line. So does the Raiders, but defensively, they're pretty powerful up front as well. They did some things to upgrade their secondary. They got a young quarterback that he's coming of age. He's not the quarterback that obviously Carr is right now as far as passing the football, but they're going to be very hard to deal with, these Titans. This is a game that if you're the Raiders, you're a little bit concerned with this game. You know, the Raiders defense now, let's make it perfectly clear. They haven't figured that out yet. Now, their offense, Raiders, no, they play off offense, no doubt. But that defense could hold them back.
All right, talking to Herm Edwards here on the Right Time. Switching gears, we got the Cowboys and the Giants on Sunday night. What are you looking for in that one?
Well, same old thing. As we know, the Giants walk in with a pretty good defense and really has helped and really has held that runner to only 1 touchdown in 2 games. He's averaging about 79 yards running in 2 contests. And I don't see anything different, to be quite honest. I think the Giants have their number. I think the Giants go down there and spoil that opening night where the stars will be shining and Jerry will be smiling, and all that good stuff. And they'll be hollering, America's team. And I think the Giants will go down there and beat them again.
Now, you're not one of these former NFC East guys that just still holds it against the Cowboys, are you?
Well, I mean, when you play Philadelphia, you can't like the Cowboys. You know that.
That's what I was about to say.
You really can't like the Cowboys. I mean, you can't do that.
I mean, you built that up so perfectly. You didn't have to, then they go beat them again. Like the timing was like you've said this about 5 times today.
Well, I have, and I said that from the beginning. Look, I said this early in the season. When we were making all the prediction, I think the Giants will win the division. I think the Cowboys got a really good football team. I'm not taking anything away from the Cowboys. I think they got an excellent runner. They got a young quarterback that is the future. Defensively, they've upgraded. But I just think the Giants, there's certain matchups that bother you. This is a matchup where the Giants' defense up front can stop them from running the ball. And they got a good secondary. They're good. I mean, until they see Aaron Rodgers, and that's a whole different deal. They got all issues when they see number 12 up in Green Bay. Now, that's a whole different story.
See, I guess it also dawned on me, too, you could get those jokes on the Cowboys because you have the permanent one-up on the Giants forever, right? Like, you've got the one-up that nobody could do anything with.
Yeah, I picked the ball up in that stadium, and lo and behold, eventually they blew that stadium up, didn't they? They're playing in place, so they can't take that away from me.
We're talking to Herm Edwards here on the right time. Hey, man, before we let you go, Seahawks and Packers playing on Sunday. How do you think that one comes out?
Oh, this is a great game, and I think you could get into a high score, and it could be 30-28. And this game is all about the quarterbacks. Both of them have the ability to extend the play, and that's what drives defenses crazy. You think about quarterbacks that leave the pocket, make plays with their arm and with their legs, and it's going to be a fabulous game. And this is probably the game of the week when you watch these two teams, because look, both of them going to win their division. We know that, and they're probably going to see each other again in the playoffs.
All right, that's Herm Edwards. Check him out, covering the NFL for us here at ESPN. They blew a stadium up because of him. My man, thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, my friend.
All right, now, tune in for college football action tomorrow night at Stanford Battles USC, presented by Goodyear. Coverage begins at 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPNRadio.com, and the ESPN app. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Our guest joined us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Thanks to Herm Edwards of ESPN for joining us last segment. Lonzo Ball of the Los Angeles Lakers will join us in the 6 o'clock Eastern hour. Lonzo Ball will join us at 6:30 Eastern. 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. Going to talk about these NFL Week 1 matchups. But first, I'm going to ask you boys to call in and tell us about the moment you realize you need to quit playing football. Let's talk to Easton in Iowa. Easton, thanks for calling the right time.
Hey, Bomani. So it was my senior year of football, and I'm from Iowa. We were playing another small-town Iowa football team, and they had a junior running back by the name of David Johnson.
Oh.
And he was a small guy. I was bigger for, small-town Iowa. And we had him wrapped up in the backfield, and I was going to come in and pop it and hit him really hard. And he turned around and popped me so bad he dislocated and broke my shoulder.
Ooh.
And now every time I sneeze, I still dislocated my shoulder because of that guy.
Yeah. I imagine you weren't asking about the timetable for return. You were just done.
No, I was done. No, I never played another down again in my life.
Yeah, I appreciate the call there, man, and I feel like they should not have allowed David Johnson to play in Iowa. You got to put him on a bus and send him to go play somewhere else. 888-729-3776. Let's talk to Paul in Tennessee. Paul, thanks for calling the right time.
Hey, what's up, Bomani? How are you?
Doing all right, man.
So I played high school football on the east coast of Florida my freshman and part of my sophomore year. Now, my freshman and sophomore year, our school actually went to the 4A state championship game. And if you were on the freshman or JV team, you got to travel with the team. Now, my freshman year, they played in the Swamp in Gainesville. My sophomore year, a little foreshadowing, I don't know where they played because I didn't get to go on the trip. So about 2 or 3 weeks before the season, my sophomore year, they had JV versus varsity scrimmage game. They called it the maroon and white game. My team was white. And we had a star linebacker who's being recruited somewhat in Florida, got to go to the University of Southern Florida. Well, he played a few series and left out. A junior came in that I had grown up with. I knew him a little bit, and they ran a sweep to my side. I was playing receiver. I went and blocked him and actually knocked him down. I was about 5'7", 5'8", and I flexed on him, like, whop, up in his face, like, I got you. Well, a couple plays later, they brought the star senior linebacker in, and they threw me a quick hitch, of which I got turned into the inside, and he popped me so hard that the ball flew out of my hands, went about 15 yards out of bounds. My mom was actually videotaping it. If you watch the tape, you can hear the pop. She drops the camera, oh, my God, running down to the sidelines to make sure I'm okay. Well, I popped up because I can't let them know they hurt you, and I get in the huddle. My team was wearing white. Our quarterback counts, we only have 10 kids wearing white in our huddle. He looks over the defensive huddle, there's 12. 11 maroon and 1 white jersey. So they had to call timeout to get me out of this. Part is what I was told happened. They asked, can your parents get here? Pick me up, make sure I'm okay. I was like, they can't. They're in Mexico. Needless to say, my mom and my dad were videotaping the game in eastern Florida. They were not in Mexico. And I told them they could get there quick because he had a Batmobile. Not the Batmobile, a Batmobile. So after a day or two of recovering from my very apparent concussion and my mother showing me the videotape, I went to the coach's office and football quit me. And had I not, my mama would have quit it for me.
Dude, that is amazing, man. Thanks so much for the call. He said he got a Batmobile, not the Batmobile. A Batmobile. That was a clinic in storytelling, by the way. An outright clinic in
He
storytelling.
foreshadowed in his own story.
All of it, right? Like every bit of it. They are in Mexico, but they can get here fast. That was amazing. I love you guys who listen to this show, by the way. Like, seriously, part of why we turn the phones open the way that we do is so that everybody can understand we got a little bit of everybody out here, and everybody has got a voice. All right, 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. We got an NFC East matchup this week. Shannon, you ready for it? The Eagles and Washington?
Battle to see who's not going to come in last place? Is that fair?
That seems to be what it is. That seems to be what the contest comes down to. And, by the way, whichever team loses is going to be in full-on panic mode on sports radio in their city on Monday. Now, you can say that that's the case everywhere. No. Shannon, can you imagine how bad it's going to be in Washington if they mess around and come out here and lose?
Offseason that they had with the questions at the quarterback and the franchise tag. He better not play bad week one.
I think he can survive week one because they want this to work so bad. But after a certain point, because you get farther, the Griffin thing gets farther into the rear view, and it just becomes more and more about what Kirk Cousins actually is. Ooh, boy, it's going to be dicey. It's going to be real dicey. By the way, they lost a lot in the receiving corps. Like, I'm a big Deshaun Jackson guy. They lost Deshaun Jackson. They lost Pierre Garçon. But Josh Doxson, I guess you're expecting you're going to finally get something out of him this year. They brought in Terrell Pryor, who is all the talent in the world, but I still think a bit of a question mark. Is that everybody?
Jordan Reed, when healthy.
No, it's about, like, the new guys.
Receivers.
So, yeah.
Oh, the new guys. Yeah.
But Jordan Reed, Vernon Davis, still in the league. He's going to be out there. Like, and Crowder's still going to be there. Like, it feels like there are guys for them to throw to. But if Sean McVay is what everybody said that he was, then losing him matters, right? Then him going to the Rams matters if he's everything that people have said that he is. I think Gruden's going back to calling the plays. And, like, Gruden's good with the scheme, but I thought they were better with McVay calling the plays. It's going to be a very, very interesting season for them because, like, Jay Gruden's this wild thing where I have all these criticisms I can make of him as a coach, but I can't say he hasn't done a good job with the team, especially considering the full-on existence of chaos that they have over there. Also, Shannon, you following Scott McCloughan on Twitter?
And a pretty fun follow, very honest and candid.
Well, especially when he decided he want to drop them bombs, because, like, Washington fans will always get on you about Ryan Grant. They can't figure out why Ryan Grant always plays. Somebody asked Scott McCloughan a question about Ryan Grant. You see what he said about that? You mean Ryan Gruden? Yeah. So if you are a fan of that team and you don't know why Ryan Grant keeps on playing, Scott McCloughan, he kind of feels the same. 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. Mike in Indiana, you got 1 minute to tell us why you quit football.
All right, Bo, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Bo, so my whole reason for quitting football was I was a two-sport athlete and played basketball and football, and as soon as I did my verbal commitment to get a full-ride scholarship for basketball, I walked straight into my coach's office for football, handed him all my pads, and sent him out. I don't want nothing to do with it. Someone else is willing to pay me full-ride scholarship for basketball. I am out. And just left it at that.
Well, what made you decide football wasn't for you, like, beside the fact you had a better option?
Well, you know, it's just one of those things. When you look at how many players get injured and the fact that someone is willing to pay for my entire scholarship, and I wasn't that great of a football player. I was 6'7", so they put me out there as a wide receiver, and I'd get a jump ball or two. But I see what happens to tall guys running a slant route.
That's enough. 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. Coming up next, talk more about last night's game on ESPN Radio.
What if I told you some stories you need to hear to believe?
Everywhere you went, Dan and Dave.
And that's these two athletes that are going to go to the Olympics this year, and it's going to be settled in Barcelona.
When Reebok approached Dave and I, the first thing both of us said, neither one of us are on this team yet.
The thought never, ever crossed my mind that Dan nor Dave would not make that Olympic team.
The all-new 30 for 30 podcast. Subscribe now on the ESPN app or Apple Podcasts.
30 for 30 podcast is presented by Mini. We're finding the best sports stories for you right now. And to do that, we're behind the wheel of the new Mini Countryman, the biggest Mini yet.
Please proceed to the highlighted route.
To find great sports stories, you have to get out into the world and follow your instincts. That's where the new Mini Countryman's all-wheel drive comes in handy. With all four, we can chase down a story in the city, the country, and most places in between. No matter what story you're chasing, the new Mini Countryman will help you find it. It's available now, and so are 30 for 30 podcasts.
My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. You can send us a tweet at the 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed. That is at Bomani_Jones. Last night did not work out so well for the New England Patriots. It also did not work out so well last night for my Twitter mentions, as all of you wanted to ask me, what you got to say about Alex Smith now? I've had 12 years to come up with my conclusions on Alex Smith. We're not flipping them up in one night. Like, I have no problem. And Shannon, I feel okay. We know each other now, what, about 10 years now? I feel like you can be honest about me, and I'm not just saying, you can give the honest answer about this. If I believe myself to be wrong, will I admit that I am wrong?
Yes.
Like, I really will do that. Smith had a good game. Like, I have no problem denying that Alex Smith had a good game. Why? Because I'm still right about all the other stuff. Like, I can give you some stuff along the way. That's not a problem at all. Alex Smith threw for 368 yards. Good game, Alex Smith. Alex Smith hit on a couple deep passes, which is like, whew. He had 275-plus completions in his whole career going into last night. He had 2 of them last night, right? But he ain't turned into some whole new dude, man. That's not really how this thing works out. He did not turn into a whole new dude, but he played well, and good for him on playing well. Because, again, Andy Reid is deciding we're going to run the veer. Like, this is what we're going to do. Like, I saw plays that I know that you saw Florida run when Urban Meyer was there. People who watched Utah said that Alex Smith ran the same plays, like that triple option with the tight end effectively running the dive, and he called it a shovel pass, which, by the way, helped Tim Tebow pass statistics on the way to a Heisman Trophy. Anyway, like, that's what it was. Like, they played a great one. The Patriots, Now, of course, people are bringing up various examples about why this isn't such a big deal, right? The 2003 season, that would be the year that Bill Belichick released Lawyer Malloy right before the season, and we said that he was being such a jerk that he was going to lose the whole team, and then they went out there and lost 33-0 to the Bills with Lawyer Malloy, and then they won the Super Bowl. Yeah, we had the game against the Chiefs a couple of years ago where they lost 41-14 at Arrowhead. That would be the one where they brought Jimmy Garoppolo in as the backup, and Jimmy Garoppolo balled a little bit, and then him and Tom Brady looked like they were looking at each other funny because Tom Brady's like, oh, no, you're not about to take my job, and we've been out here saying that Tom Brady sounded old. Patriots pulled it together when they won the Super Bowl. So, the Patriots, yes, we know that they can certainly pull this whole thing together. The only thing is, if your argument for them pulling this thing together is what went on in the past, Bill Belichick ain't got nothing to do with no stinking past.
I think I said it 1,000 times. I think we got a lot of work to do. I don't think anything that we did really was good enough. Not really interested in living in the past in 2014, 2015, 2003, 2004, which constantly keeps coming up. I mean, everything's about some other year, but this year and this team. I don't really think all that's relevant because we're talking about another team, but we got 1,000 questions about it every week. So I'm really concerned about the 2017 team, what this team is, what this team needs to do. I'm not trying to live in the past like everybody else is.
I will say, by the way, while he is not trying to live in the past, he did a very good job of rattling off all the applicable years. I'm not trying to live in the past. I just got a really good memory.
Mentioned about being asked about it thousands of times, so he's already been asked about it thousands of times since last night.
How? Right. Who was calling you up talking about this? You know what that tells me, Shannon? Somebody reads the media more than he claims that he does. Ooh. Like, he was already ready. He was already prepared. Also, the conference call, I wonder what does Bill Belichick do during conference calls? Like, we all know what we do during conference calls and nobody's around. Like, did Bill Belichick sound like he had his foot on the desk? Because he sounded to me like he had his foot on the desk. Bill Belichick playing words with friends, talking to the media. He ain't worried about that. I mean, it's not like doing words with friends while you're hosting a radio show or anything. Who would do that?
Okay.
Let
me ask you, what was more surprising last night? The Chiefs and Alex Smith and the Chiefs offense or New England's defense?
I would say New England's defense, because here's the thing, right? The one play where there was the coverage bust, and I don't want to take anything away from Alex Smith because he completed the pass that was there to be completed. But really, up until that point, he had been the Alex Smith that we all know, and then he threw a ball to a dude that was butt-naked open, running down the field. The one to Tyreek Hill on the other side of the field, I thought that was a much better pass. It was a great matchup that they got because it was some linebacker. I think it was Cassius. Somebody hit me up last night and was like, what'd you think about White Cassius? I was like, made that mistake before. Google it. Nope. He's not White Cassius. Nope, he's tattoos on his face Cassius. Anyway, that one I thought was a good pass. Like that I thought you can give to Alex Smith, like some credit on that one. But, I mean, what did Alex Smith really do in the course of that game that was so impressive? Like I really felt like we were grading him on the Alex Smith curve, which everyone tends to do. The Patriots defense, they haven't given up that many points in the Belichick era. Right? And I guess for a lot of us, they rotate guys in and out every year that you don't think about what it matters when one of them is out of there. So last year they traded Jamie Collins. Chris Long left in the offseason. The homie Ninkovich retired this year. Like there's been some turnover on that defense. It's hard for people who don't really pay close attention to it to know what the impact is going to be from any of those changes. But I was much more surprised that they gave up 42 points than I was that the Chiefs managed to score 42. Though I have to say I had a certain measure of surprise about the Chiefs scoring 42 points, given that all those were offensive. Like I thought if they were going to get to 42, it was going to be a return. You know what I'm saying? Maybe a rock and jock, some double or nothing. Like I didn't think they just put up 42 honest to God points. I did not see that coming. Now, Shannon, let me ask you this. More surprising for you, how well Alex Smith played or how poorly Tom Brady played?
Man, Brady struggled. He struggled.
Did.
And one of the things really is the lack of passes to the tight ends. And I know we had Herm Edwards on. He said that Gronk, like he wasn't healthy out there. But Brady, man, it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. But Brady, I was surprised that he wasn't more effective.
Well, also, didn't the Patriots get your man from Clemson, Allen? He used to play for the Colts.
And Allen, but he can't stay healthy. But yeah, he's there.
I mean, he played last night, though, right? Like, I'm assuming that he was healthy enough to play in that game. No, they didn't have it. Then Amendola wound up getting that head injury because he got kneed in the head, and I just can't imagine what it's like to get kneed in the head in the course of an NFL game. I cannot. But Amendola got kneed in the head, and doesn't he have a bit of a history with head injuries? So I don't think we can make any presumptions about whether or not he's going to be able to play anytime soon.
I will say this in defense of Tom Brady. I don't know if you paid attention to Marcus Cannon, number 61.
He was getting to work.
Oh, my gosh.
He
had nothing. And, you know, it was one of those things. He didn't even put his hands up. Like he just knew that he couldn't stop Houston. Late in that game, when Kansas City knew that New England had to pass and that's all that they can do, he couldn't stop him. They almost got Brady with a safety.
Once again, Justin Houston, the dude that you forget about how good he is until you look up and then you're like, oh, wow, Justin Houston's in this game, and he is everywhere. Do you remember what Justin Houston's career high for sacks is? He had a season with 22. Like, he's had a 22-sack season, and it's like it never even happened. Now, granted, he's had injury problems the last couple of years, right? The year after the 22, he missed 5 games. After that, he missed 11 games. But when he is rolling, man, he is such a monster. And I was watching what Ken had to say about it during the game. He's like, the other part is, it'd be one thing if all he was a monster pass rusher. Dude, he's dropping back in coverage, and he's handling it back there, too. Like, he is just, like, we just have some players in the league who are great that it's easy to forget about their greatness unless it's in your face all the time. Justin Houston is one of those players. All right, 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. We got Lonzo Ball joining us at 6:30, by the way. We're also taking you guys' phone calls on that hit you took that let you know that playing football was not something you should keep on doing. Let's talk to Jason in Jacksonville. Jason, just for calling the right time.
Yeah, what's up, Bo? Love the show.
Appreciate it.
I never played tackle football before in my life. Decided on my senior year in high school I was going to go out for the team and impress my 2 uncles. So they bought me all the gear, had a fresh helmet, all the pads. Went to 2-a-days, was killing them all practice. Not because I was good, but because I was fast. So the last play of practice, turned the corner on a sweep. I was playing running back, and I thought I said, oh, in the end zone again. Safety came, hit me so hard, it felt like I had a film over my eyes at first. But it turned out that they were tears. So when I took my helmet off, he had a burgundy helmet, and I had a long burgundy streak on my brand-new white helmet. I took my equipment off, went home. The next day, the coach, I started getting phone calls at like 6 in the morning because that's when practice started. So I said, I ain't answering because I ain't going back to practice. So the next thing I know, I hear a knock at the door. It's the coach. So I'm peeking through the blinds like it's a Jehovah's Witness. I said, you know what? I'm out. I went through the back door, hopped on my bike, and went to my boy's house, and that was it for my football career.
Yo, I think that you went out with a bang, my dude. I appreciate the call. He snuck out the back door because the coach came to the crib. I tell you this, though, for him to have not played before and the coach to show up to the crib, he must have been a monster. Like, he must have been like, yo, we could do something. Nah, bro, nah, I'm good, man. I'm good. All right, 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. We're still waiting to hear about this temporary restraining order with Zeke. Shannon hitting to close the business over there in Dallas?
Ted, 6 o'clock Eastern. We're still waiting.
Who working out to 5 on a Friday other than us?
Okay, Kevin, for the grand prize of $1 million, what color is the White House?
I know this.
5 seconds.
Oh, switching to Geico could save you a bunch of money on car insurance?
Okay. Judges? That's true, Kevin. They'll allow it. Congratulations. You're a winner.
Woo! Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. Lonzo Ball will join us next segment. Lonzo Ball will join us at 6:30 Eastern. That's the old soul song of the day. That's the Way Love Goes by Janet Jackson. Shannon, this is when Janet was gradually being like, okay, I'm still going to wear all black, but I'm going to wear a lot less of the black clothing, and we all appreciated it.
This was a very much appreciated Janet.
Like, it's a building action, because then we get to the video for If, and then we got to the video for Anytime, Any Place, and that right there is retirement worthy. That was like, that could have been a walk-off. Baseball playoffs loom large. Tune in tomorrow as the Indians host the Orioles, presented by Firestone Complete Auto Care. Coverage begins at 12:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPNRadio.com, and the ESPN app. All right, Shannon, we got it. We finally have it. Ezekiel Elliott has won an injunction from a Texas court. The NFL cannot impose his suspension for the duration of the lawsuit, so in all likelihood, Zeke will play all season without that suspension being imposed. Gotta say, just for the spectacle of it, a little bit disappointed. Why am I a little disappointed? Because I couldn't think of a scenario under which you knew a suspension was right around the corner, right? Like, it would basically, if you would have known that Zeke's suspension was coming, Shannon, that whole game for him would have been like 25th hour. How many carries you think they would have given him knowing they didn't have to worry about him playing for 6 more weeks?
All the carries.
All of them. He'd have been like, what's it like to be Earl Campbell? You're about to find out. Left. Right. He's sitting there doing that feed me. No, I'm good, man. I'm good. No, you're not finished.
Don't forget the gravy.
46 carries for Ezekiel Elliott. What a workhorse. Oh, what about no more? Oh, what no more? So there it is. I thought we'd seen enough of a track record to indicate that this sort of thing would happen. Basically, players have been able to demonstrate that simply not being able to play a game, just being paid, right, like being put on the commissioner's exempt list or getting the money back or whatever it is, does not account for the facet of these decisions that comes to irreparable harm. So the Star Caps, they demonstrated that. We had a couple other ones where irreparable harm was demonstrated from the idea that you would not be able to play beyond simply being able to get the money back. So, no, I'm not terribly surprised that Zeke is going to wind up playing from here on out. This does, of course, have a big effect on the landscape in the NFC. I understand that there's also a larger matter of the allegation of domestic violence. I don't have any idea what in the world I'm supposed to do with that case. Because, a whole lot of stuff happened when I was off work while that went on. But I look at that whole thing being like, man, y'all got to throw this whole thing out, right? So the only investigator that actually talked to Zeke says, no, I don't believe that his accuser is to be believed. And then the NFL still gives him 6 games, which sounds like the NFL had decided from the very beginning that they were going to give him 6 games. And then you wind up with the complex thing. Lisa Friel, the woman at the NFL that's in charge of these things, as we found out during the Josh Brown thing, she is such a big Giants fan that she basically has a basement that is dedicated to her love of all things Giants. That came up because Josh Brown, got a 2-game suspension. But then, Shannon, you NFC East people, you got to wonder how that goes on the other side. There also have been previous allegations of prosecutorial misconduct against her. There's a lot going on there if anybody really wants to talk about how fundamentally shaky all the NFL stuff is, but we typically don't do that. And, by the way, speaking of Josh Brown, had his 2-game suspension that was imposed last season extended to 6 games. Josh Brown does not currently play in the NFL. And I would like to read for you, by the way, the NFL statement about this 6-game suspension for Josh Brown, who does not play in the league, and I will read it to you word for word. The NFL notified Josh Brown that he will be suspended for the first 6 games of the 2017 NFL season for violating the league's personal conduct policy. In August 2016, Brown was suspended for the first game of the 2016 season after an investigation into an incident on May 22, 2015 with his then wife. Shannon, let's stop and take a moment and think what it must have been like for Josh Brown when he got the phone call at whatever time this morning when they called him, because from what I can tell, he ain't got nothing to wake up and do, right? Right? He's at his crib by himself, pillow all up on his face, you know. Hello. Hey, Josh, it's Raj. Who? Roger Goodell. Hey, just need to let you know that your suspension has been... What do you mean my suspension has been extended? I don't have a job. Like, how mad would you be if you were Josh Brown and you got that phone call?
Wonder if Josh Brown actually officially retired, whether or not he would have gotten this suspension.
But see, I feel like kickers never officially retire because you never know when somebody's going to need a kicker, right? So, yeah, he gets this phone call. He's not even in the league. This happens. And this is what the NFL said about this. They say in October 2016, the King County Sheriff's Office announced publicly that it had closed its investigation in connection with the 2015 incident. As part of its report, however, the Sheriff's Office released a volume of documents from its investigation. Those documents, which previously had been withheld from the public and the NFL, contained information regarding a series of other incidents separate from the May 2015 incident. Shannon, if they put that out in October 2016, what the hell took them so long to read it? Like, basically, we've been like, why y'all suspend Josh Brown for only 6 games? And they're like, oh, hold my beer. Josh Brown is now suspended for 6 games. Right. I will continue reading the statement. The league then placed Brown on the commissioner exempt list and initiated an investigation into those incidents. Following a comprehensive investigation, which included a review of the documents and interviews with Brown and several other people, the league concluded there was a violation of the personal conduct policy that warranted a 6-game suspension. Remembering, by the way, that the 6-game suspension was supposed to be the baseline, the minimum punishment, but the NFL, I don't even know if they know what minimum means. And here's the last line of the statement. Brown was advised of this determination and elected to accept the discipline and begin serving the suspension immediately. He doesn't play for a team. What else was he going to do with your damn suspension? That's the NFL for you. Anyway, Zeke going to play all year in all likelihood. 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number right fast. We've been asking people to talk about that time they got hit so hard they quit playing football. Let's hit the phone and talk to Phil in Missouri. Phil, thanks for calling the right time.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call. I don't know whether you remember Curtis Brown, fellow that just died here 2 years ago.
Yes.
Running back for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
He was 2 years behind me in high school. And I had played outside linebacker for those 2 previous years, and then Curtis came up as a sophomore, and we were in our first full contact practice, and I thought, we'll just see what this kid's got. Oh my God, he was a man among boys.
Yeah, pro will make you quit.
Oh my God, he pancaked one of our defensive linemen, and I thought I had an angle on him and stuck my arm out. That was the wrong thing to do. I still feel that elbow in winter, you know. Oh, my God. And then, he could run like a deer. And he was just gone.
Yeah,
and I was rubbing my arm, and I thought, I think I'm good.
Yeah,
I think I'm good.
No, those are problems that you don't want. And, Phil, thanks so much for the call, man. 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. Coming up next, the Ball family. They're used to the spotlight. Now we're going to find out more about them than ever. They got a little Facebook show. We'll talk to Lonzo Ball about that next on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80. NFL fans will do almost anything to help their teams win. Tostitos, the official chip and dip of the NFL, created lucky bags for select NFL teams this season. They participated in team traditions with the hope that doing so would bring luck to each team. They raised the 12th man flag for the Seahawks, waved the terrible towel for the Steelers bags, and gave Broncos bags a mile-high salute. Hi. Current NFL players Dak Prescott, Jadeveon Clowney, Joe Flacco, and Aaron Donald all participated to make their team's bags lucky. Visit Tostitos.com to see how Tostitos made your team's lucky bags and pick one up at a store near you. Welcome back to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. All guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, just like our next guest. He'll be playing for the Los Angeles Lakers this fall. In the meantime, he'll be on Ball in the Family, a docuseries debuting on Watch, Facebook's new platform for episodic shows. His name is Lonzo Ball. Alonzo, the first thing we got to ask you is, man, how'd your little brother wind up with the Lamborghini?
I mean, it was his birthday, so I mean, I couldn't take his birthday gift.
I mean, I don't know about that. Like, I'm a younger brother. Older brothers are normally like, how come I didn't get to have that in high school? And your little brother going to be pulling up the Chino Hills in the Lambo.
Nah, he's going to be looking right.
All right, we're talking to Lonzo Ball here on The Right Time. So, with this television show, like, how excited are you about the idea, or have you been about the idea of having cameras follow you around so much?
I mean, at first it was a little weird, but I mean, after the first 2 episodes, once you get to know the crew and everybody, it became easy because we all became friends and stuff, and we was all, comfortable around each other. So after that, everything's cool.
Now, is this something that you want to do?
I mean, like I said, I think it's cool. It's not like I woke up one day and was like, I want to have a TV show. I mean, I think it just happened organically and wherever we are today.
All right, now let me ask you this, because I work with somebody whose father was a bit outsized in personality, and he wound up becoming a television star. Like, at what moment did you realize that things had changed around your family based upon the attention that your father was getting?
Well, he's always been loud and stuff and always spoke his mind. But that's been the same. Just the only difference was people started putting cameras and TV. I mean, putting them on TV and stuff. So, I mean, I don't know. Our family as a whole is the same. It's always been the same. So it really hasn't changed anything at that matter.
All right, talking to Lonzo Ball on The Right Time. So what's one thing you think that we will find out about your family that we probably can't tell from this distance?
I think a lot of people are going to actually see that my dad's a good person and not as crazy as, he's portrayed to be. I think that'd probably be the number one thing.
Are you surprised that people don't consider that side of it? Because I think part of it on the other side, where people argue on behalf of LeVar, is the idea that you guys are always around each other so closely, the difference in your AAU team and everything else. Like, have you been surprised at the way that the perception has been of him?
I mean, everybody has their own opinion and everybody has their own eyes. So people are going to see what they want to see and see how they're going to see it. So, I mean, I really can't determine how the people are going to think, but I know how he is. He knows how he is. And our whole family knows how he is, so that's all that really matters.
All right, we're talking to Lonzo Ball here on The Right Time. So what is the interaction like with you and your two brothers?
Oh, we always been together. So, I mean, we all love each other. We always been there for each other. So, like I said, we've been together our whole lives. So it's kind of the first time that we all been, split up. But, I mean, we're going to all be cool.
Well, how much of an adjustment has that been?
A little bit. It's crazy. Waking up and stuff and not having, Melo running around the house doing something crazy. So, I mean, it's a little different, but I can see him all the time based on the fact that we're still all pretty much together since we all in the same area.
All right, we're talking to Lonzo Ball here on The Right Time. The story has come out about saying how the cameras will not be allowed to be with you when you are there with the Lakers. Do you think that is better for you, or were you concerned about having the cameras there?
No, I really didn't care, to be honest. I mean, regardless of cameras are there or not, I'm going to do my job. So.
All right, talking to Lonzo Ball here on The Right Time. Now, one thing your father's always said about you is that he does not add pressure to you because you can handle the pressure so well. Is there any time, though, where the attention that's come for things that aren't basketball has become, bothersome to you?
No, not really. I mean, my life's pretty easy. All I do is just go to practice now and work out. So all I do is play basketball, so ain't really no problems in my life.
Well, how much different has the basketball been? Like, at every level, the competition gets better. So when you got to Summer League, how much different was that for you versus playing at UCLA?
Guys are bigger, faster, stronger. That's kind of how it is, every time you move up a level. But there's a lot of fun out there in Vegas, for the 2 weeks we were out there, and I'm glad, we came home with the trophy.
All right, that is Lonzo Ball. Check out Ball in the Family. It's a docuseries debuting on Watch, Facebook's new platform for episodic shows. My man, thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, now, 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. Shannon, you going to watch?
I'm curious. I'll watch. I'll tune in and check it out. Why not?
I am curious, right? Like, I think that's probably the best way I could put it is I am somewhat curious because I don't have a problem with the branding as other people have it. Because here's the tricky thing when it comes to branding and it comes to people like LeVar and the fact that they're branding their kids. It is always interesting how we think it is okay for you to take your child to a stranger and allow that stranger to brand your child. But if you are the person who actually does the branding of a child, now all of a sudden we have a problem. It's like our love-hate with capitalism, right? Like we love the notion of capitalism, but we don't actually like the capitalist. And so when the capitalist is a person who exists in a position that you think of as being loving, now all of a sudden it's a problem. It's like it's almost at that moment that people realize that like love and capitalism aren't necessarily compatible. But it's okay to turn like the kid over to somebody else and let them go out there and make all the money. That's kind of the dilemma that you wind up with when people talk about like NCAA stuff that always gets me is that, oh, okay, it's okay for those guys to get rich off of your child, but don't let you make any money off of your child. Then you are a predator. These other people, though, I don't know what the word is or the name is that you use to call them when they decide to get rich off your child. Like that's where we wind up in a situation like this. But say what you want about LeVar, man. They've kind of blown this thing up. Like it's worked. I can't believe how much you know about these kids. That being said, Shannon, I still don't know nothing about that middle boy.
LeAngelo. Right.
I still know nothing about him.
Is he any good?
I mean, he's going to UCLA. What they say about him, though, is he's like a 6'4" power forward. He's that guy. And so, you know, he's going to have to, like, muscle his way through to figure it out or whatever it is. But, nah, he's the one I don't know anything about whatsoever. You know what he looked like? He got a funny haircut like his brother?
Not as much, I don't believe. I guess I need to look him up, right? Because he's the one we really don't know about. Because you got Lonzo was the first. It seems as though LaMelo was the flashy one.
Yes.
Right? I mean, 16-year-old Lambo in your own shoe.
And he's on that Odell Beckham program. Like, that's one thing about it. You got to remember, man, there's a whole generation of kids that think that Odell Beckham thing is what's hot in these streets. I mean, I guess. Like, I'd say this about LeVar. Where LeVar deviates from where I would expect a daddy like LeVar to get down, LeVar let that boy wear that crazy hair. I know Mac Jones wouldn't have gone for that.
Part of the branding, Bo. You got to stand out.
Yeah. Let me tell you, Mac Jones would have been like, that's not part of our branding, actually. You want to stand out, boy, go score 50 points a game. That's how you going to stand out. But you're not going to stand out here with this ridiculous follicular disaster on top of your head.
Score 50 points, or you can score 50 points with a head full of oodles and noodles.
I ain't going to lie, though. You got a Lamborghini. He can have a head full of oodles and noodles if he want, man. Can you? Dude. The bright spot about giving the kid the Lambo is only one other person can fit in it. That's the only thing that'll save you from drama. Let me tell you what that means, too. His homeboys will not be riding in the Lambo. If there's only seat for one, it ain't for you, bruh. 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. Should we take one more of these? We've asked people to talk about the time that they decided to quit playing football. So they got hit so hard. Let's go to Scott in Utah right fast. Scott, thanks for calling the right time.
Bo, football quit me. It's a two-part story in the same game. We were the rich kids from Park City in Utah, so we were everybody's rival. We were playing a school out in the sticks somewhere, and I was 14 or 15. Now, this is the early 90s, so, you know, it was still a real rugged physical game. Being the starting quarterback on a freshman team that's not very good, not a whole lot of fun. So we're getting beat up pretty good, and the first part was physical. So we ran a toss sweep to the far side, and I reverse out, toss it to the running back, start running the other way, faking the bootleg, looking at the play, and I got blindsided so hard by this kid. He was a big Polynesian middle linebacker, and he just stood over me, and all he said was, head on a swivel. So right there, I was like, whew, oh, man. It was butt over tea kettle. Okay, I got up, I took it. I was pretty scared at that point. So we ran the triple option. I'll never forget. It's 34-0, and he's just coming up between the A gap going, I'm going to get you, quarterback. I'm going to get you, quarterback. I'm going to get you, quarterback. And I remember thinking in my head, like, he's going to get me. So we ran the triple option. And I was looking at him basically the whole time. And I ride the fullback, pull it out. He's coming through the A-gap. Closed my eyes, went to pitch the football because I thought I was going to get my head taken off. And here's the mental part. Instead of taking my head off, he just took the football like a handoff, knocked me over in the process, and I was face down on the ground as he ran about 60 yards the other way for the touchdown. And that's when he broke my mental will, and that's when I know football had quit me.
Hey, Scott, I appreciate the call, man. ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Customers switch to Progressive, save an average of $500. Call or click today and find out we can save you hundreds on your car insurance. Coming up next, catch up on what you haven't heard today. And how the Chiefs are rolling on ESPN Radio.
Before we get to the Zeke Elliott news, the big game last night, of course, was Kansas City's shocking win at New England. Not so much the win itself, but how they did it in that new and improved, high-powered Kansas City Chiefs offense, Bo.
Oh!
And if you haven't heard, here's Bomani Jones earlier today on The Right Time discussing last night's game.
This offense they ran last night, when I looked up and I saw a play that I know damn well that Urban Meyer, I don't know if they still run it at Ohio State, but I remember running that a lot at Florida, which is in effect a triple option where the snap comes to the quarterback, the tailback goes on the outside, and it leaves a shovel pass up the middle for the tight end that is in effect the dive of the triple option. They ran that play about 4 or 5 times last night. We saw speed options from the Chiefs last night. Like, the Chiefs are really out here running the college offense in the sense that they're like, okay, so what we got is a bunch of little bitty fast dudes. So we need to find ways to allow our little bitty fast dudes to get the ball in space. They're out there running with that diamond offense where the quarterback's in the shotgun and you got these two backs like in front of him and to the sides. Like, this was truly like watching college. I don't say that as a good thing. I don't say that as a bad thing. I say that as we don't really see that in the NFL, or at least I don't have a recollection of seeing that. And them boys went out there and they put up 42 points on the Patriots.
All right, so do you think that that was just the Chiefs' offensive game plan for the Patriots specifically? Game one, come out there showing something different? Or could they possibly run this throughout the season?
Oh, no. This is going to be what they do until they don't do it anymore. But, I mean, they've been moving in this direction for a while. Like, every time somebody talks, like Albert Breer wrote something for MMQB about the death of the zone read, nobody really told Andy Reid about that. Because Andy Reid is still rolling with it, and he just took it all the way this time. He went full college.
This reminded me of? It reminded me of New England and the Dolphins when the Dolphins first introduced the Wildcat to the NFL with Ronnie Brown and Ricky Williams.
They went time machine with it.
The aforementioned Zeke Elliott and a judge in Texas has granted his temporary restraining order, which will allow Zeke to play for the entire year. So Zeke Elliott's going to play the entire year for Dallas. How much does this affect the money in Vegas now?
Well, I think we looked it up. Probably a half point or a point per game per spread that Elliott would wind up like having the ultimate effect. But I do feel like even if it's a half point or a point, they make those changes for a reason in Vegas. Them jokers was glad this decision was made before they got another lineup.
As a Giant fan, I'm really not looking forward to it. Like, it was one thing, like, okay, he was going to play in game one, but now to have him the whole season, same. Why you had to? I'm just saying. All right, I want to ask you, Bo. All right, we got, San Jose State and Texas this weekend. Any chance your beloved Longhorns start the season 0-2?
They will beat San Diego State. They get San Diego State at home. I believe that they will beat San Diego State. However, they don't go out there, I don't think. Either way it goes. If Texas loses to San Diego, is San Diego State or San Jose State?
I believe it's San Jose State.
Okay, yeah, San Jose State. Here we go. Look, South Florida beat San Jose State. Shannon, do you know who coaches South Florida?
Charlie Strong.
Yes. Right. I'm just saying, if they beat San Jose State and Texas doesn't, I'm going to be furious.
The reason, of course, I brought that up is the fact that just to have you even think of the possibility of San Jose State beating Texas.
I know a jerk when I hear one.
Mm-hmm. Sticking in with the college game, we got a big Georgia-Notre Dame matchup this weekend, and Georgia fans are really excited about this. So much so that they were turning down $4,000 to switch plane tickets not to go to the game. So apparently Delta had offered some of the fans, they overbooked the flight, so they offered some of the Georgia fans not to go to not to take this flight, take another flight, and Georgia fans were turning it down.
Dude, they could catch another flight. Like, that's where I was so confused. It wasn't like you wasn't going to get to go to the game. Even if you wasn't going to get to go to the game, 4 G's and tickets, we can go somewhere a hell of a lot better than South Bend, Indiana. Believe that. Please believe that. I also wonder what the size of that plane was.